Now, moving on to Everything Everything, who might not be a familiar name on these shores yet. The band are British and their debut album Man Alive was released last August. I had a chat with Michael Spearman. You guys got into town, I think you got in yesterday, did you?
Yeah, we had a rare day off to enjoy where we're at, which is really nice to explore Dingle, and the drive here was amazing. Beautiful views, and just nice to have some time on the hands and have a few Guinnesses and just soak up the festival and the village. It's great. It's fantastic.
And what did you get up to in the town yesterday?
Oh, we went to all the pubs that everyone recommended. I think there's 36 pubs, and there's 6 of us travelling. So
you took one each.
Yeah, we had 6 each, and didn't see each other. But no, we went around a few, and it was great. It was just very sort of warm environment and warm sort of festival. I mean, we played so many festivals this year, and you sort of turn up and you do them and then you leave. But it's so nice just to sort of play a smaller festival where you get to know people and hang out with other musicians. And
I imagine it's good because a lot of times, a lot of the bands that I would talk to, they seemed completely worn out by the promo wheel of death.
Yeah, but they're slowing down now, so that's nice as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. We got off the bus and Jarvis Cocker was up the street, and then the National were just pulling up as well. I was like, all right, cool. Kind of didn't know what to expect. So we didn't know much about this festival before, but it was a really nice, pleasant surprise, really. Yeah.
Brilliant. And your album Man Alive, it came out in August. Tell me a bit about that and how that's gone, because we won't really have heard as much because you haven't played any shows over here. Yeah. So just to give people kind of an introduction, where would you see yourselves in the lineage of other bands in the UK music scene at the moment?
Well, I think it's kind of we've been quite lucky with timing of things as well, because I think we're sort of in the same similar vein as, say, Foals or Wild Beasts in terms of they're quite audacious with their ideas, and not that we sort of took them as direct influence, but it's like, oh, I'm glad those bands exist because it sort of paves the way for what we're doing, which is to try and basically make quite unpredictable, what we think is exciting pop music that is still, that can be played on the radio and that is accessible. Because that's what's interesting. We don't want to make something that's particularly weird or esoteric just for the sake of it. We want to make something that's interesting, exciting, unpredictable, but also a 3-minute pop song, that's immediate. So.
Has that been a hard line to draw, to find that balance between doing something that's slightly eclectic and that kind of interests you, and also being, I guess, commercially viable as pop songs really?
Yeah, and the commercially viable thing isn't really because of that. It's more that we love pop music and we love like Destiny's Child and things like that. Not even in the sort of ironic way, really. We just love the rhythms of the music, and it's exciting to us. So that sort of, it's quite unconscious how it's all come together. But the more we sort of thought about it, and the more we've written songs, we thought, well, we really like treading that line. So I hope we're getting better at it. But yeah, it's a bit tricky to get it right, and sometimes we don't. But it's a good challenge. So.
There's a lot of really great music coming out of the UK at the moment. We saw you guys were on the shortlist for the BBC Sound of 2010, and just I think today the list for 2011 has been announced. And there's a really,
has it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
There you go. There's something to check out afterwards.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a wealth of really great music coming out.
Yeah, it feels a lot better. I mean, obviously it's all to do with taste, but the four of us were never really, we felt a little bit sort of alienated by that whole kind of Libertines, post-Libertines kind of Razorlight 2005 sort of time. We kind of thought, oh, this is nothing we can relate to. I'm not saying it's terrible music, but it's not our taste, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of lucky that when we were able to be a band and make music, that the sort of the scene, or whatever you want to call it, the atmosphere, the environment of the music scene at the moment is good for it. So yeah, I mean, these things happen in cycles, and there's trends and things, and we don't want to be a sort of trendy band trying to make music just to fit in with a scene or whatever. It's always, I've been at school. Jonathan was making this sort of music when he was 17, but obviously it takes almost 10 years just to get it out there. It feels like a better time now. There's a lot more music that at least the four of us are really into and really excited by.
Do you think there's a kind of a fundamental change happening in pop music and the type of pop music that's popular?
Yeah,
with more of a artists like Marina the Diamonds or Ellie Goulding, both who are playing the festival as well, who are kind of writing their own stuff, performing it, and are the brains behind the project as well.
Yeah, I think the more onus has been put on creativity, which is nice, and not being scared to be maybe slightly strange in a way. I mean, the edges of Marina's music and Ellie's music there's some strange edges to it, but it's still pop music, you know. And we're maybe a bit stranger than they are, which isn't necessarily a better or worse thing. But I don't think anyone's going out of their way to sort of out-strange each other. But there's definitely a kind of a movement towards that, which personally, you know, someone who grew up listening to like Zappa and Beef Art and stuff, I've always found that attractive. So I'm really enjoying what's happening in popular music, and it's interesting seeing things move from the sort of fringes into the mainstream. And obviously things change when that happens, but I think a lot of people, like you say, they're not just puppets. Like they are the brains behind it, and you know, in the sort of world of the atmosphere, the environment of X Factor, I think that's more and more sort of important, that people get a sense of, it's not just some, you know, stage school person who's been trained up by a label to be a pop star or whatever. People aren't so bothered about the pop star thing. They're just trying to make interesting music, and hopefully it does well. So I think that's a very healthy place to be at the moment.
Okay, Michael, thanks a lot. I look forward to seeing it later on. I believe you're playing drums, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I should have got that out at the start, but there you go.
Thanks, Dylan.
I don't wanna know what happened to your boyfriend, 'cause he was looking at me like, whoa. Yeah, right before the kitchen was a dust bowl. I got some images that I can't forget. Everything just coming through the windows, and apples cheapers under my nails. It's like we're sitting in a Faraday cage when the lights all fail.
A clip there of what I think is pronounced as Mikey's Your BF by Everything Everything. BF being boyfriend. That's all for now. Next week's show will be slightly different. I'll be talking to some of the people behind the scenes at Other Voices. So long for now.